Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Joy of Painting with Eustace. So yesterday we left off with our happy little tree that we painted. Now as it turns out, this tree really, well, it is happy, but it didn't make Eustace happy because this tree represents the previous owner of the lovely new home that Eustace and his family inherited. And I'm going to paint you a little story of something that happened and see what you think about that. And I'm going to show you a civil and pleasant way that I deal with this. So I've prepared my wall canvas. We have it all patched up and ready to go. And we're using one coat paint. And we're going to be painting over all this ugly disaster mess that the previous owner has left. And I'm actually using the filthy, dirty, ugly curtains that he left behind as one of the drop cloths. So thank you for that. I am enjoying it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into a little bit of Dove White. I'm just going to dip our old mighty 3-inch brush in there, load it up full of paint. Got to make it full of paint. There we go. So right up here, let's paint us a strong, jagged edge mountain with our Dove White. And we're using Dove because it looks like snow, and snow is cold. And the mountain's going to be jagged, hard edges. And we want this because this is going to represent the condominium association. And we'll put some slippery slopes in there because everybody knows when you live with a condo association, you're going to have some slippery slopes. That's right. And we'll just gently smooth it out. Not too much pressure. Just a little light wisp of the wind. Just use a mouse whisker. There we go. That's good enough for now. And down the bottom, we'll just smooth it out. We'll make one big point in the middle. There we are. Oh, that's wonderful. Make it like some mist. There we go. So we got a letter from the Condominium Association. And they were telling Eustace, and we'll go into our Dove White again, because we're going to have to make a little representation of Eustace. And we're going to do it right over here. And we'll make Eustace nice and big because Eustace is much bigger than the tree. And the tree representing the condominium previous owner. It's good for him to know that Eustace is a very big, big man. And he has a big trunk. There we go. So there's Eustace. So the condominium association told Eustace, oh, you have a violation. That's going to cost you $100 every month until you either address it or they'll put a lien on your home eventually if you are stupid and ignore it. Well, Eustace isn't going to ignore it, and he didn't. So they said the garage door is the wrong color. You see, the garage door looked more like this color, but a bit more yellow. And it's supposed to be a very light, creamy beige. Well, the previous owner, it turns out, had received at least one notice back in May when he still owned the place. So we had our real estate agent contact his real estate agent, and we'll just draw little representations here of the fog of communication from one agent to another. There we go. So my agent contacted theirs, and the owner said he never got any notice whatsoever. And that was the original garage door in its original color, which, I don't know, I think the previous owner, our tree, he's a fibber McGee. That's right, that rascal. He's a fibber. Because we noticed that the door lock handle had been replaced with a little plate lock, and it's in the wrong position. And we all know that the holes are drilled at the factory. So either this tree or one of his little helpers, his little saplings, hung the door upside down, or he replaced it. So, liar, liar, pants on fire. That's right, tree. Let's draw some nice white hot fire on that tree. We'll just scrub it in and wiggle it in with our brush and make a little bit of smoke over here and smooth that out just like that. That's right. There we go. Just a little bit. Not too much, just a touch. So Eustace had to go down to the Sherwin-Williams paint store because he had to spend $65 on a very special paint with an exact paint number in his color scheme for his unit. Well, that didn't make Eustace very happy, and he was very agitated about that, but he held his breath and he marched on down to the paint store. And we'll just draw some marching lines and then a nice big square for the paint store. And maybe they got a little hang over here, a little overhang to keep you out of the rain when you're walking in. There we go. Here's the paint store. So when Eustace got home, he started slapping paint on that old garage door. And we'll draw that door over here. There we are. Nice big mighty door. And it had lots of little ornate panels in it. Out there in the hot sun, it took a lot of time and 2 coats of that beautiful, beautiful new paint just to get it right. Because we didn't want the mountain to have anything more to say to Eustace about going to the store to buy more dang paint. All because of the lying tree. That's right. So normally Eustace knows in life that there's many people that tell fibs and get out of doing things just because they're selling a place or whatever, it's their world. They can do as they like. But what really disturbed Eustace the most is that you see this tree. Let me get into some more of our Dove White. There we go, tap, tap. Plenty of paint on that old mighty brush, our 3-inch brush. And let's go up here. And we're just going to draw a representation of 3 little sapling trees. Oh, what the heck, it's our world. Let's make more. Let's draw a whole society of saplings. That's right. There we are. So this tree is kind of a shepherd for the saplings, you see. Because this tree is a pastor to a church. And he's supposed to lead and set a good example for the saplings, the members of the congregation. And he's supposed to set a good example for his own children and family. Well, Eustace doesn't think he's done a very good job in this particular instance of setting a good example of his behavior to his flock. So he ought to be ashamed of himself. And if we've learned one thing, let's go ahead. Let's get a little bit more of our Dove White. We'll just tap some of that off because we don't need much. But if Eustace has learned one thing, he knows that God, let's draw a big old source of light here. We'll put some beams hanging out over here. They're just shining down on that old tree. There we are, some nice light beams. Eustace knows that in the end, God will have his conversation with you. What do you think that conversation will be, tree? I'm not too sure, but I'll tell you what would make Eustace feel better. Let me show you. We'll just go into a little bit more Dove White. And that's if this old tree get our branches, wiggle out those branches. We're not going to spend too much time painting this old tree because we already did an episode of a tree. We just want to illustrate. There we are. But it would be awfully nice if that light would tumble down that tree right under Eustace's feet. And then Eustace can jump up and down for joy. So the moral of the story is, sometimes you can get away with stuff within the law. But that doesn't always make it right. In God's eyes, or the universe's eyes, or Buddha's eyes, or whomever you worship. And even if you don't worship anything or anyone, there's called conscience. And I wonder, does this little tree have a conscience? So sometimes you could be within the law, but you're not doing the right thing in your conscience. It would have been nice if he at least said, "Can I come and help you paint the door because you have a terrible back injury?" Or, "Can I buy the paint for you or split the cost with you?" Or even give you $10 towards the $65 gallon of paint. Well, Eustace knows that the man has a lot of beautiful, wonderful children and a lovely wife, and he wouldn't take his money because Eustace would rather see him take that money and do something nice for his family. Maybe even put it towards their education, which I hope will be better than his. I would have said no, but I would have really loved to have that offer. That's all. But it never came. So what are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to go ahead and go one last time back into our nice, creamy, smooth Dove White. And we're going to come up. And if this brush now is Eustace's memory, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to wash it away. Just wash that little tree away. Wipe it out of our mind. Let's wipe our minds over here, shall we? Let's just wipe it out. Smooth it up. Nice. Little strokes. Not too much. There we go. Just like that. And the little tree is gone from Eustace's mind now. And we're going to move on in making this dump our beautiful new home. And I'm going to share the finished product with all of you who are my friends. So I hope you've enjoyed this little story. And until next time, happy painting and happy ruminating. And God bless. Bye-bye.